this rumor, this report, this Snyder, and I see that smirk. You probably think it's horse duty, but let's read it nonetheless. We do this.
Let's do it.
Let's just do it. For me, I don't like when people do the whole well, you don't know if this is gonna be true yet, but what if it is? And if it comes down and you didn't cover it, so sniff a fart if you don't like that we're covering it. Zack Snyder, Christopher Nolan, and the Saudis are set back to bring the Snyderverse, says cosmicbook.news. Now, take that as you wish. On the eve of the anniversary of the theatrical Justice League release, our insiders have reached out with major updates about Zack Snyder, the sale of Warner Bros. Discovery, and what is now being described as a full-play scenario for the return of the Snyderverse. Warner Bros. Discovery is officially up for sale, and it's no coincidence that Zack Snyder has been posting non-stop DC EU images and liking fan content on Instagram that compares the performance of his films to James Gunn's struggling DCU projects. The timing lines up with what we have been told. If the Warner Brothers is sold, James Gunn will be out as head of DC Studios. This comes from the same insider who told us Daredevil Born Again was going to be completely retooled months before the Hollywood Reporter confirmed it, exactly as we reported it. It's the same source who has been accurately filling us in on the WBD sale and Zaslav's plans before the trades caught up. Track record speaks for itself. Snyderverse in full play for return. Regarding DC, the message from our insider is clear. The Snyderverse is back in play fully. That means Zack Snyder's returning to DC, not just for one-off Elseworlds, but for an actual revival of the universe that he started. We're told that Christopher Nolan is also part of the plan to return as executive producer. Nolan, who backed Snyder on Man of Steel and helped shape the original vision for DC before WB derailed it with studio interference. According to what we have been previously told, it was also Nolan's decision to hand over DC to Snyder. Now, while Snyder has publicly said he wanted to end his DC career with an adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns, we're now told that the impending sale of Warner Bros. Has shifted outright, and he's pivoting towards restoring the Snyderverse outright. If that happens, it implies the return of Affleck as Batman, who publicly rejected working with Gunn's DCU after its announcement, and Henry Cavill as Superman. Fans remember Cavill's widely seen interview with Josh Hartnett confirming his comeback, only for Gunn to immediately upend it. Gal Gadot has also been visibly active supporting Snyderverse posts. None of this is accidental. Even Ezra Miller is making some sort of Hollywood return. Now the Saudis are in the driver's seat. We're told that Saudi Arabia is now the front runner to acquire WBD. According to our source, they're in the driver's seat with the $1 trillion fund. And here's the critical part. Zack Snyder already works with the Saudis. So Snyder and the UFC partnered with Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, chaired by Turki Akalish, to produce Brawler, an upcoming Snyder film that he's directing, co-writing. The Saudis trust Snyder creatively, and he is already tied directly into their entertainment expansion. Our insider says this is exactly why Snyder has been highlighting his Snyderverse work on social media. The signals aren't random. They're building momentum. Told that Warner Brothers as a whole is also signing massive new deals with the Saudis, including Trump and figures connected to Trump's circle, like his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. The kingdom wants major entertainment assets, franchises, and major theme park IP. Snyder and the UFC have partnered with the countries, that makes it possible that Snyder finishes his saga with Nolan involved as exec producer. Okay, so let's see. There's the source also confirms the Saudis want a massive Universal Warner themed park. Full restored Snyderverse lines up with that ambition. A Warner Brothers acquisition gives them everything DC, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Universal, and more. Okay, so and then it continues on to this deal that potentially Saudis are. Yeah, the next one's in. So lot to pack it right there. Yeah. There's so much. All right, we read some of it. Yeah. What do you think when you hear of?
Oh, I think there's a lot of things to consider in this report. Look, Matt's stuff, a lot of it I just kind of take it with a grain of salt because Matt's not always it's not often right in my opinion. But these things are interesting because I've been hearing from Jeff on the hot mic for a few weeks now that he doesn't believe the Paramount's going to take WB, and he talks about Saudi Arabia interest. And why wouldn't a country who is trying to essentially wash their crimes from the past through sports washing move into the entertainment world? It just makes all the sense in the world. So I think parts of this are true in that Saudi Arabia is interested. I mean, the Comcast CEO met with Saudi Arabia last week or something like that, or a few days ago. And so the idea of them coming together with a bid for Warner Brothers makes all the sense in the world. The idea that they would go towards the Snyderverse and reboot all that, I just think that's a danger on so many levels. It's such a slap in the face to James Gunn. Of course, Matt, who has a particular interest in bashing James Gunn, says struggling James Gunn. There's nothing struggling about James Gunn. Nothing. There was the sequel. I mean, the finale, Peacemaker season 2. Yeah, it didn't come off great, but people love Superman. Broke all kinds of viewing records on HBO Max. People are excited to see what's next. So it's nonsense. There's a small pocket of the fandom that's upset about Gunn, but it's not big enough to overturn things. So I just think it would be dangerous to make this kind of change now and go in this direction. You talk about Saudi Arabia being in charge of some of these franchises, that unsettles me. That bothers me, considering their track record. And so, again, Kristian, you can't. We're coming to a world where you can no longer remove politics from anything. Everything's connected now so much. And I'm not trying to open up that door, but
no, it's a fair conversation to have when it comes to this. Yeah.
Yep.
Getting a Ridge wallet was a game changer. The big chunky wallet was the worst. It was like a giant crusty leather brick, just kind of like falling apart at the seams. Well, Ridge, I've been telling you about it. It's unique. They have the slim kind of modern wallets, and Ridge took their game-changing wallet and made it even better. You can look at that Ridge 2.0. It's the most refined version of the Ridge wallet. It's been perfecting the wallet for 12 years, and everything's better with the Ridge. It's 10% lighter, which is cool. Every gram matters in the Ridge Wallet 2.0. They found the perfect balance, is what I like about them. They made it more modular with improved cash straps, money clips, and the AirTag attachment. There's an improved surface design with tonal logos and matching plate cash straps. I like the Yankee one because that's what they got me, and I dig it. And it's so easy. I love it. Just look at that design. They have over 100,000 5-star reviews, and it's proof that Ridge is a gift people love to receive. It's not just about wallets, too. They create premium everyday carry essentials. They have key cases, they have suitcases, and they're game-changing power banks, all built with the same sleek, durable design. You can find the perfect gift for every wish list. Give the gifts that stay out of the junk drawer and find their way into morning routines, travels, and adventures. I'm getting my brother this. I hope he doesn't watch this because he's going to know how to get him, but that's what I'm going to get him. And for a limited time, Ridge is having their huge Black Friday sale. Head to Ridge, RIDGE.com to get up to 47% off of your order. It's by far the biggest discount that they're going to give all year. That's Ridge.com for up to 47% off your order during the biggest sale of the year. Now, after you purchase it, they're going to say, hey, where did you find us from? You say, Kristian HARLOFF sent you. Support the show and tell them that we sent you.
The other side of it is, and I got throwing it back to you. I mean, this seems like if Snyder did this, it'd be such a slap in the face to a fellow creative in James Gunn. If he's been doing these little posts and tweets and pictures and stuff because he's building up the anticipation for it, and he just took a photo with James Gunn, recorded an animated episode with James Gunn, to kind of turn on him like this, I think is an asshole move. So I have to believe, because I like Zack Snyder and a lot of people like him who work with him, that he wouldn't be doing this. This is just for fun right now. But I don't know. It just seems odd that they would even open the door to this. What are your thoughts?
It does. But here's what I'm going to start with first, because you didn't hear you touch on this aspect of it, because I think you touched on all this stuff really well.
Yeah.
The Nolan side of it.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I don't buy that.
But here's why I don't buy it. Probably the same reason you don't.
Yeah.
What's his deal with Universal?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like, if I'm Universal, like, why are you getting involved with the Warner Brothers thing where you were just like, I thought we stole you from your ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, right.
You know,
exactly.
It's like, what are you doing? You're going
Why
back.
Are you taking the calls? I thought it was over. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like, it makes sense when you think of how it all ties together. It's not like, wait, why would Nolan get involved? It makes sense. I just don't know why he would do that and say, like, unless he's so close with Snyder that he's like, look, this is the other thing to consider, as what you're saying, with if he is working on a deal like this, and how it would be not great, which I agree with.
Yeah.
As far as, like, if he is close with Gunn, the question is, how does he really feel about how everything went down? Right.
Yeah.
If he felt like, look, this thing got away from me and they took it from me, and and we all agree that he got completely what they did to him during the time of his tragedy.
Yeah.
And the way that they kind of replaced it, it was disgusting. What they did to him was disgusting.
Right.
So maybe inside of, and then he had to go through what he did with the Snyder Cut and all that.
Yeah.
but without publicly saying anything, knowing the way deals go down, he's like, okay, I never wanted to step away from it in the way that Henry Cavill didn't want to step away from it. And if he was like, okay, there's a way for me, if Nolan was like, hey, you got that job and you're doing that stuff with the Saudis, and he's like, hey, Chris, listen, I'm working on this thing with the UFC and with the Saudis over there, and they are really serious about buying Warner Brothers, and they will bring back my stuff, and I'll have free reign to do whatever I want. That starts to go, what do I do? Like, call my how close am I with Gunn, and what do I say at this point? Now, if the Paramount side of things, if it was Paramount, I thought Gunn would be safe, and I said, that'd be silly for them to do that. Saudi's got no dog in the fight. We don't want to do that. We want to bring on Snyder. We like him better. That's our thing. And they're not going to care if we're like, hey, why'd you do that? We don't care, because there will be people who push back against it no matter what, and might not support your product. But the question is, what do they think is more important, or will do better rather? You know, I think that there's a lot of stuff that I love Man of Steel.
Yeah, me too.
I really enjoy Wonder Woman minus the ending, but I really enjoy it. I like the Snyder cut of the Justice League very much so. There were things in the Flash that could have worked, right? There were things in there that are working. The audience was not supporting that storyline and timeline,
right?
Because if they were, the way you could have kept that going is when Gunn and Safran took over was to go support Aquaman 2 more so than what it did, to support the Flash and to support Shazam 2. That would have forced Gunn and Safran's hand to continue it. If those would have been, they would have been forced to, because they would have left too much money on the table.
Yeah, all those characters, all those actors would have stayed in the DC universe in some capacity if those films had been successful. Yes, 100% the truth. And I think with the Snyderverse,
Aquaman 2 did not make over $1 billion. That is that is
Aquaman
incorrect.
1 did, but
that was a long time ago.
And the thing is, people forget BVS didn't make $1 billion. That's the reason this whole thing happened with Snyderverse, is BVS did not do well. And yes, they tried to shove that in, they rushed it or whatever, but it didn't do well. So all the Snyder bros who were going crazy saying this is going to be the way to make all this money, where were you guys when the BBS came out? Like, clearly the fandom did not show up. You guys might have showed up, but not enough of the fandom did to get it across the line to $1 billion. And a Batman versus Superman film should absolutely make $1 billion. So there's these things that you go like, well, maybe we're looking back on the Snyderverse with this kind of fuzzy, fuzzy nostalgia that it was this incredible thing that misunderstood. No, the public responded to it and went to the things that they wanted to go to. It's just that the Snyder Bros became this loud thing. Then they got their Justice League, which I thought was great, to be honest. I do and love that, and I love that they got it. And I love Snyder's approach to DC stuff because I like the dark stuff. But in the end, not enough people came. So the same arguments people are making against James Gunn, you can make against Zack Snyder for his Snyderverse. So if this happens, it isn't like all of a sudden that these films are going to make $1 billion. Because what if you do pull this move, you screw over James Gunn, you make this happen, that movie comes out and it makes $500 million.
Here's the question. Maybe so.
Yeah.
But my question is, it seems like that the Saudis, with everything that they're buying and the comedy shows and the WWE stuff and all that, you can't even say FU money. It's like it's money like, oh yeah, we bought that thing for $1 trillion, whatever it was.
It's Apple money on steroids.
On steroids. And so when you say, oh, we just got note that Zack Snyder's movie cost $200 million to make, and it only made 400. Like, okay, it made 400. What's the next one?
They very well might be.
Right? We didn't make any money on it. Yeah, but we own Batman.
Right.
Like that's the kind of money that you can have. Like when you're Warner Brothers now, you need everything to be performing.
Yeah. Okay.
If you have that kind of money, like the theme parks is another part of it. Like, okay, great, but we're gonna deal with theme parks. There's a lot more that comes to it when you have that kind of money.
Right.
It's not doesn't mean that you should just do stupid business, but it just means that, okay, we like working with Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
I don't know. There is a lot of merit to the report, because minus the Nolan thing, that's the only thing to me that stands out. Like, I just don't understand why he would get involved in this, unless he's just so close with Snyder that he just wants to help his friend out. But I just think that we can stay inside of this story here is that the fact that the Saudi Arabia is entering the mix here. This takes my thought of, okay, Paramount's going to get it. I don't know anymore, because Ellison can play with a lot of the big boys here.
Yeah,
but can he compete against that? I don't know. Let me kind of continue on here in the report from Dark Horizons about the PIF entering the Warner mix. And a few days ago, news came that Saudi Arabia's public investment fund is reportedly exploring a partnership with Comcast to bid for Warner Brothers. Puck News seemingly broke the story, though the rumor has been swirling on social media for a few days before that, and a legend suggested a major all-cash formal offer was being made. Comcast CEO Brian Roberts reportedly traveled to Saudi Arabia recently, where he met with PIF officials and touring the upcoming entertainment megacity Gudaya, which is expected to house a Universal branded theme park. Saudi-backed acquisition by Comcast would certainly make the current active bidding field even more intense, with Paramount Global Skydance remaining a leading contender while streaming giant Netflix is still hovering. The prospect of Netflix buying Warner Bros. Discovery has been described as a worst-case scenario, according to one regional theater executive, The Wrap. The concern being that under Netflix, big theatrical properties like DC and horror franchises like The Conjuring could become streaming first. Saudi Arabia's PIF certainly has been making significant pushes into global entertainment. The fund was part of the consortium that acquired EA in September for $55 billion. It took a few days, but news suddenly exploded again on social media in an unexpected way and within a very specific fandom, the Snyder Bros, with the hope that such an acquisition could somehow lead them to return to the DCEU. Preliminary non-binding bids for Warner Bros. Are due by this coming Thursday, November 20th. I mean, this is serious stuff now. Yeah, like I would have Vegas odds would have had me if I would have put money on Paramount getting it. I would have been like this, and then like, wait, Saudi's coming in and putting a bid. I wouldn't like this, John. Right back into my pocket. Because I didn't even see that coming. I didn't even think that was a possibility. Because it's like, is it a risk though? Because traditionally, and not to say this is, I don't know. I want to see where you land here. Studio has been a kind of American thing. Yeah. And this changes things dramatically if it's not. And as you were saying, like, what does that mean for the direction? People were thinking about like Paramount. If Paramount bought, you brought this up, like if Paramount bought it and then they bring in Gunn, like, well, I don't like your politics. I want you to do this. Right. What are they going to do? Right. Exactly. So I know you spoke on it a little bit, but what does this mean if they do get it? What does it mean for the studio system in general?
I think this is, Matt Bellany on Puck, he has been sounding the alarm about the legitimate death of Hollywood. And by death, he doesn't mean that it's over. It's more like the changing of the guard, where, as you said, Kristian, the idea that studios are like American-owned things and very much American, those days are over. Like, it's moving very close to a global situation where other entities can come in and purchase a movie studio and do the things that they want to do with these franchises. And they see the money, the cachet. It's just like a sports team. They can see they see the possibilities of what they can do and how the money can increase in their investment. And so it's not a surprise. Jeff is the one, as I said, on Hot Mic. He's the one that mentioned it a few weeks ago on Hot Mic. And I was like, I hadn't even thought about Saudi Arabia for this possibility, like you said earlier. And so the fact that Jeff has been hitting this drumbeat on Hot Mic, and then this news comes out today, it makes me think that, he'd been hearing rumblings from people that he knows that this was a real possibility. So the Comcast guy going over there and meeting with them makes it all the more interesting as a possibility. Now, I don't know what the parameters and the rules would be with Saudi Arabia coming in and buying Warner Brothers and what they would do with these franchises. What's the angle? You can't ignore the politics of something like Saudi Arabia, a country like Saudi Arabia buying these franchises and these properties. They're supposed to appeal to 4-quadrant people. What is the approach they're going to do? And so there's a lot of questions around it, but I certainly think it's very, very possible now. Jeff even mentioned Elon Musk could jump in at some point with all the money he has to try to get a movie studio as well. So the days of like this homegrown movie studios that get big and they're American born, I think those days are almost done, as Bellany's been saying now for the last few days. So, yeah.
So is there any world then that, and not that this is a right thing, but is there any world where they go, look, we know basically what you just said, we know that if we go this route, that we will be changing it and no longer will this be American owned, and we're trying, and that's what kind of one of the things that was sold to everybody was that we're going to try to make more American based businesses. Is that a chance for them to go, okay, the money's good, but it's not worth it in the long run? I know that's almost impossible to even get to some, I know, but it's like, well, look, and I guess that comes down to if someone offers you that amount, but that's on the table, and then Paramount comes in right underneath it. Right underneath it. There's a possibility they go, no, we're going to go with Paramount.
Right.
Unless it's like, this is so much bigger than what Paramount is doing, then
it's up to the board. It's up to the board, Kristian, right? The people on the board. I mean, they can launch lawsuits and say, well, you took the lower bid, so you messed with my money. You should have taken the higher bid. Because that's what a lot of these board members care about, is how much investment they can get back, or how much they can get back for the investment they've made. And so that's where you look at this whole situation. I hear you. Like, maybe ethically you go, you know what? I don't want to sell to Saudi. We got the price up to a really good price. I'm going to go with Paramount, right? Which is really, this is not that much different, but you get
not that much different,
in my opinion. Not that much.
But wait, politically is different, but he's still American.
Yeah, I guess, but
I think it's significantly different. I think it's significantly different.
I mean, we're gonna see, but I will say this for the Ellison thing, I've been really surprised that they kept the South Park going, and B, got Daly and Goldstein to come on to Star Trek, which I know we're not talking about, but those guys I would not have thought that they would have gone to for a Star Trek reboot. So that shows me that they understand there's criticisms, but they're going to do what's best for business, and that's important. So maybe you're right. Ellison's different, but I'm curious to this idea how people can go, yes, Saudi Arabia is coming in to buy Snyderverse. There's an Israeli actress who's playing Wonder Woman. Do you think they're going to be okay with this? So there's all these questions that go around. Again, you cannot ignore the politics anymore. Those days are over. You have to be aware of what's going on. Doesn't mean you have to have a stance and get into fights, but you just have to be aware of these things that are happening because they are part of the equation when you look at this. So, and Saudi may look at this and go, you know what? What's the smarter move? Because some of their sports teams, they do the same thing. They come in and people think, oh, they're going to do all this, but they actually don't. They try to adhere to the fans. They try to make sure they're satisfied. Yeah, they've done that in a number of sports areas, Newcastle, other places. They're like, we have to cater to the fans and understand what they want and do our best to put a good product on the table, on the field that people want to see. And I think the same thing will be the approach here entertainment wise, but I do think some of the censorship, some of the politics will bleed into their decisions creatively.
It could. I mean, it certainly could, right? And like, I think that that's probably the case. And anytime any leaders take over, it's like they have ideas of what they want to do. And it's look, there's sometimes that you get leaders that say, we're going to lean on creators to do stuff. There's other people who push their own agendas out there, and there's other things. And there's times where, you look at it on a very smaller scale. My opinion on the way that Kathleen Kennedy is running things now. It's like, okay, I have my idea of the way movie making was back in the 80s, 90s, and I'm going to do that with directors, and it wasn't working. But you keep doing it. It's like no. You need the creatives around to do that, and there's no difference in when someone's buying something over. You can't if you're not a creative in that way, and you just have the cash to do it. You buy the smart things are always the smart leaders are the ones who say, I've got the money and I know that I don't have the creative thing, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go get the best.
And they've done that at Paramount. They really have for the last short amount of time. So you're right, Kristian, on that end.
If you do, I mean, because you don't if you've got the money and you know how to actually, if you really want to make money, the smart thing is not to push your things. You can have ideas of what your morals and what you want your company to be represented as, and you can do that way, and you can suggest certain things, but you also know, okay, look, we're bringing in so-and-so, and they don't align up with me. They're going to make me some money. You got to be able to do that in the way that I think that's why I think Paramount will keep James Gunn on, and let him finish that contract and see. If I'm Ellison, I'm going, look, I'm not going to fire you because we don't line up together. What I'm going to do is go with your plan, but I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you 3 movies or 2 movies, and if they don't hit this, then we got to have a talk.
Yeah.
Whether it's continuing your thing or scrapping it, but I'll give you 2 or 3 movies. You don't just get rid of the guy. Now, if you're the Saudis, you don't give a shit. You're like, well, we never wanted that. We don't care about that. We like working with Zack Snyder, and that's what we're going to do.
Right.
It's going to be this is going to be a story we're going to be talking about for quite a bit.
I mean, and it's Snyder's not on a run right now. That's the problem too. I mean, those Rebel Moon movies were not good, and I'm a massive Snyder fan, and I can tell you they were not good.
Slow motion city is what they call that.
Yeah, and even his sequel to the Batista zombie one was not that great. So it's not like he's on a run right now. They're like, oh yeah, we got to give him stuff. He's not on a run, and so there's a danger as well. Like even when he's got all this money, Netflix threw the whole damn boat at him. He still is not making good work. And so that's an issue too. So him coming back doesn't necessarily mean the Snyderverse is going to be amazing. And that's another part of it as well. You know, sometimes pitchers lose their fastballs.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And I guess the last thing before we put this to bed is that the Netflix side of things, right? Because there's no world Netflix gets it. There's no world.
No.
They're just stop the price.
I think what you talked about, there's no way they would go with Netflix if they can get away with it, because they fear that Netflix will just put everything on streaming, which is what Sarando says he wants to do.
Well, I mean, the question would be, and what I would love to ask him, behind closed doors is, okay, well, if we actually are serious about this and we get it, are we buying Warner Brothers and running Warner Brothers? Or are we just taking Warner Brothers, shutting it all down, and then making everything Netflix? Because if you're shutting it down and making it Netflix, then you're probably going to be streaming stuff, and that you stick to the model. If you're buying Warner Brothers, well, then you could have something where you kind of eliminate that problem that they always have, where like, okay, Greta Gerwig comes in for a meeting, and she goes, I don't want to do Narnia on streaming. I want to do it theatrically. They're like, okay, well then you're going to make it under the Warner Brothers label. We'll give you. You're not going to get as much money as you would get from Netflix. That's the rub. Is that we'll give you X amount to make it on streaming first in Netflix, or you can have theatrical. You'll have it, and then it'll live on. Maybe they take all the Warner Brothers streaming stuff, put it on Netflix, and all that instead of running 2 different streaming platforms. Again, this is if they get it, they have. I don't think they're serious at all. I think they're just like, okay, Paramount, we're going to put a bid in, and then we're going to make you pay more. And now the Saudis are going to up that too. So I think eventually we're going to hear Netflix just kind of do the Homer Simpson into the bush.
Yeah, because I mean, they only want half of it. They only want the movie and TV stuff. They do not want CNN and all those other networks. Netflix doesn't want anything to do with that. Yeah. So it's all about Warner Brothers going like, well, do we want to separate and then sell them separately?
Right. And the theme parks and here
these people want to come in and buy it all.
They want everything. They want everything. So I got to put them as the top contenders right now. To be honest with you, if they're serious about it, this is things are going to be very different in about a month from now. I think we're going to hear news in about a month. Yeah. All right. Well, what do you guys mean? That's a hell of a story. I'll tell you that. In general, both the idea that Saudis could get Warner Brothers, the idea of Snyder potentially coming back, so much in there. Get your thoughts out there, whether it's in the live chat, whether it is in the replay of this one, or on the Clips channel. Almost at 15,000 on the Clips channel now. Appreciate that for all you guys. And again, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. Look, I'm having a rough football season. I had a good week 2. The Giants played really, really tough against the Cowboys. It just wasn't my week. But I'll tell you what was. My highlights from PrizePicks. It's so simple. It's so easy to play the game. And you just take some of your favorite players and you can, it doesn't matter. Look, I'll give you an example. You use Barkley, Burrow, Allen, any of them. And Barkley's going to have more or less than 1 rushing TD. Burrow is going to have more or less than 2.5 passing touchdowns. Allen is going to have more or less than 270 passing yards. It's simple to play. PrizePicks, it's really easy. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks puts their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. PrizePicks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Download the app today and use that code Kristian to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Kristian to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right.